Okay then everybody, well, we're going to be kicking off now with the second round of heats here at the British Rental Kart Championship at Formula Fast in Milton Keynes. And what a cracking show we've had so far. It's been some epic performances, some really topsy-turvy results, and it has to be said, some results from absolutely nowhere. Some of the winners have been, well, let's just say, not who we expected. We've got the second round of heats coming up, and the big difference here is that not only are the names re-jumbled up in a particular matrix, it's been designed to try and ensure that no driver really meets another one in the heats more than once. It does happen occasionally, but that can't be helped. But generally, there is another mix-up. So each of the drivers will be taking their second heat now, and in this round of heats. Here's the first one coming up. But also, there's a difference to the track. We've got a new track layout. What they call the alternate layout here at Formula Fast, and again, that's going to shake things up a little bit. Now, the funny thing is that everybody for 3 solid days has been practicing on the normal layout with the snail section. Everyone knows the snail section. We've even seen some incidents and moves for a lead going on down there. But this time it's been changed away from the snail section. It's the alternate layout. And the best bit is nobody's tried it at all. So it's going to be absolutely brand new for everybody. And they'll only learn it on the opening lap of the qualifying. So remember how everyone has 1 lap of qualifying, 1 qualifying lap, and then the in lap, if you like, or half lap. Basically, that is going to be the first time that each driver sees the new layout. So it's going to be a real stab in the dark for many, and then of course they'll be racing that layout in each of their heats. We're going to be keeping that one for the next round as well, and then tomorrow it gets changed back. Now, people who may sort of, this might play into the hands of, well, obviously we've got some people who are more or less experienced, someone who knows the track very well as it is. They would obviously stand a better chance than the regular layout as opposed to this optional layout, and somebody, you know, who's either new to the Brkc or probably the most extreme example that I can think of would be Jessica Alexander, who literally had to learn the original layout this morning on the qualifying lap. So for her, it'll be no different. So on that basis, we could yet see more up and down topsy-turvy results. In this first heat that we've got coming up, well, it's not going to be an easy one either. We've been saying that all morning, really, but this won't be easy. Rob Duma, the Polish driver, ex-Speedway racer, part of the 303 racing team, he, of course, is in action in this one. We've got Dan Grocott, a Covkart Sport regular. Jake Campbell-Mills has been a former driver in World Championship level, and Super 1 in Britain and everything else. Dante Dhillon, one of the fastest yesterday. He's up. Sebastian Raikkonen, former sidecar racer, he's on this. An excellent debut earlier, and looking to sort of establish on that, be Michal Grzyb, who's one of the Polish drivers. He's 4 times Polish kart champion, so can expect something from him. Ramon Pineiro, he's out in this one. Spanish driver, ex-FIA Formula 2 driver. Gary Jones is back in action. Doesn't seem that long since we last saw him. Phil Pryor, and one of the more recent spectacular results, Owen Burton. If you remember, Owen on pole position, led a long way and managed to finish second to Ed White earlier on. So, well, that was actually in the previous race. So Owen Burton was seen pretty much twice in succession. So we're going to be having a look at the qualifying laps. They're all on their out lap. In fact, everybody's now started their qualifying lap. And we'll see what happens when the times come in. On the out lap, it was Pineiro fastest. Not that it means too much, but you can get a bit of an idea. Well, Phil Pryor's put in a time, so Sebastian Raikkonen. Jake Campbell-Mills leads the way with a 34.7. Owen Burton's now fastest. Owen Burton pips Campbell-Mills. Gary Jones moves in second. It's still Owen Burton. Whoa, Michal Grzyb is in second place. Dante Dhillon second. Oh, and Owen Burton's been beating this Ramon Pineiro. It's all down to Rob Duma now, and Rob Duma comes in sixth. So Ramon Pineiro starts on the pole from Owen Burton and Dante Dhillon. Has to be said, not necessarily the result we were entirely expecting, which means that once again we've got another little bit of a shake-up going on. Here comes Ramon Pineiro. He's making his way well down to the front. He's going to be starting on pole. He also gets to lead them round, but a very experienced driver is Ramon Pineiro. You know it's going to be all the right speed, etc. Owen Burton, we saw him shine so much. So far, he's got a first and a second in qualifying in the races he's been in. And this is not the sort of performance we would normally associate with Owen. He's really upped his game this year by the looks of it. Quite what he's done to do that, I'm not sure, but certainly showing very well. Second in the lineup there. He was on pole and second in the race last time, but he did have Ed White that he had to tackle. So, you know, we'll see what he makes of Ramon Pineiro. Behind Dante Dhillon. Dante Dhillon was very, very fast yesterday. I mean, there were 8,000 laps of testing completed yesterday. And he was a semi-finalist last year. He qualified in at 28th, so he's one of the last-minute semi-finalists, but he's certainly upped his game this year. Another one going surprisingly quick. 4 times Polish champion Michal Grzyb is in 4th place, and he really showed well in the first set of heats. We'll see what happens this time. So round they come. It's Ramon Pineiro leading the way. He's gone fast, he's gone slow, he's trying to sort of break it up. He's gone for the lead. Will they give this? No, they're not going to give it. Ramon Pineiro went very early. Owen Burton was not really moving at all with him, and so it's going to be one more time around, and then we're taking the start, and someone's come in the pits. We've got a cart in the pits. It's the number 10, and the number 10, of course, is, well, he's not on the list. He's not even taken the line, of course. In the pits, I'll just double check. Who have I got? It might be Phil. No, Phil Pryor's out there. Sebastian Raikkonen, he's there. Jake Campbell, yeah, Campbell-Mills. I'm trying to run through the names to see who we've got in the pits. Gary Jones. Well, we'll get an update on that. It's at least we know it's not one of our the top starting runners like Ramon Pineiro, Owen Burton or Dante Dhillon, because that truly would have been a nightmare for them if that was the case. But there was someone who took a spare cart, so somebody not happy with what they've got, and they have opted for the change there. We'll see what happens. Right. So, round we go. We're going to make a restart here, and Ramon Pineiro's going to have to keep it a little bit tighter. He's weaving around. That's going to build up a few little gaps there. Ramon Pineiro trying to make him second guess when he's going to go. He's gone early again. Owen Burton's with him this time. We're going green, though. It's Ramon Pineiro with the best start we've seen throughout the Brkc. As the pole starts, he dictates the pace. But what he needed to do was to be able to get into the lead, into the new turn at the top, definitely in the lead. They're in this new section now. This is a brand new area for each of them, finding out where the grip is and finding out where it isn't, but it looks like everyone's made it okay. So coming through the fast turn, back on familiar territory now. Here's the long back stretch. Ramon Pineiro, quite a lot of movement in the wheel there under braking. Kart twitching this way and that, but it's Pineiro with a pretty convincing looking lead. There's Owen Burton now. Owen Burton lost last time to Ed White. He'd led much of the distance. This time he's going to want to reverse the situation with Ramon Pineiro. Sure, he fancies his chances of getting past the Spanish driver from Barcelona and moving into the lead and taking his first British Championship win. And it could well happen in this race here, because there is Owen Burton, a very, very solid looking second place. If anything, he's closing in on Pineiro. There's a gap opening to third, which is Dante Dhillon. Pineiro's going to have his work cut out now with Owen Burton coming at him. Now, the question is, one, if Burton catches Pineiro, and two, when he does catch Pineiro, because he's lost a bit of time there, when he does catch Pineiro, is he going to be straight into the attack, or will he sit with Pineiro and try and pull a gap away from third? Because Dante Dhillon has definitely closed up on Owen Burton this time around. You can see it on screen. They're moving out of view now. There's a sort of overview winding through the new section there. Very much different, but similar to the old snail section that we were using earlier on. Down the backstretch. But look at this. A bigger lead than ever for Ramon Pineiro. And Owen Burton loses a place. It's Dante Dhillon at the inside. And fourth place, Michal Grzyb has a good look as well. He was trying to take advantage there of Owen Burton losing a spot. And into the pits already. We've got someone in the pits. It's, let's have a look. It's Sebastian Raikkonen. Looks like Raikkonen is coming in the pits, maybe. Let's double check that. No, I'm not sure. No, it's Jake Campbell-Mills. It's Jake Campbell-Mills. So Jake Campbell-Mills leaves the pits there, and he's obviously wanting to get clear of this lot. He's wanting to try and create some space. He obviously feels he's faster than those immediately in front of him, doesn't want to lose any time. Already everyone's getting very defensive, and that's probably why. He'll have seen all the action going on up ahead with Dhillon, and oh, it's some punting. Burton's gone back in second by being thumped up the bum quite solidly there by what looked like Gary Jones. He's repassed Grzyb. So let's have a look. We've got Pineiro from definitely Dhillon second and Burton's third, and quite a serious thump there coming off the backstretch. So there's Pineiro in the new section, a good lead. There's Dhillon, there's Burton, and there is Michal Grzyb. Gary Jones is in position behind Grzyb, and he's got Rob Duma coming with him. And down the backstretch, now we're looking now at Owen Burton getting very, very defensive. We saw that in the earlier race. Owen Burton maybe could be losing some time there. There could be something to be said for not getting so defensive. But then again, if he loses a place, it won't have been worth it anyway, will it? Right. We've still got Ramon Pineiro, but Pineiro's built up about 2-second lead now, by and large, because of a lot of pushing and shoving and bumping and boring behind him. So there's Pineiro going out to the back of the picture there. He's in the white suit, and that's Dante Dhillon, who was very fast yesterday. Here comes Dante Dhillon down the back stretch there. He's moving on the normal line. There's Owen Burton on the defensive line to the inside, trying to keep the Polish champion, 4 times champion, Michal Grzyb behind him. We're looking at Gary Jones there. Gary Jones is looking to close up on the Burton and Grzyb battle. They're crossing the line now. So, the new section, there's Pineiro, and there is, well, that's the Owen Burton area, isn't it? So that's Pineiro through. There's Dante Dhillon. Here's Burton and Grzyb. And then there's Gary Jones. Gary Jones followed by Rob Duma. And that's in the new area there. This is very much a new part of the track. We've not been using this, and no one's seen it before the qualifying of this race. There's Owen Burton way over to the left from behind there. And that prevents anyone coming down the inside. Did he need to do that? Not really. He was just being quite speculative there that somebody might make a move. And that somebody, of course, was Michal Grzyb, who's the 4 times Polish champion. So, there's Owen Burton, very tight new section there, really having to work the car. They arrive at quite high speed as well, so it's a bit difficult there. You're definitely dealing in compromise areas of the track. So, onto the backstretch, the familiar backstretch. Again, Burton straight to the left defensive. He's not even looking at Grzyb. He's just assuming that Grzyb is going to try something. Maybe that's costing him time. Only he knows. He's the one driving the kart, and very well driving he's doing. So, Ramon Pineiro, 9 laps into the books. That's Dante Dhillon, and here's Owen Burton. And in the inside, it's Grzyb. Grzyb finally makes that move, and that's into the new section. So Michal Grzyb, the 4 times Polish champion, has passed Burton. Burton's been bundled back down to 4th now, and he's going to come under the watchful eye of Gary Jones. Now, Gary Jones knows that he needs to increase his point score here. He didn't score too well in the previous race, and if he wants to make the semi-final this time, he's going to have to start with a big point score here. Owen Burton is the first one on his target list. In fact, Jones looks like he's coming to pits. Jones has pitted. Now, Jones obviously feels that he can do a better job on his own. There's Jones. It's looking green there. The light's red. He's trying to gun the throttle. Yes, he has. Well, that was very good. We're looking at 11 seconds if you're being conservative, 12 seconds if you're taking chances. And that was an 11-second stop there for Gary Jones. Okay, so Grzyb now looking over his shoulder at Owen Burton. Grzyb's seen that Burton is not going to be dropped that easy. Burton's shown pretty good form so far today. Grzyb will have seen that earlier race where Burton led much of the distance. He won't know anything really about Owen Burton, having never raced him before, apart from what he saw in that previous race. And that will have definitely made him think twice about sitting ahead of him. He'll be looking to see where Burton is. Obviously, Grzyb does need to close in on Dante Dhillon. There's about a second, and he's definitely inside his Dhillon from Grzyb. But with Burton in close attention, Grzyb has really got a bit of a two-way fight. The one of catching Dhillon, and the other one is staying ahead of Owen Burton. Right then, so 12 laps in, and Ramon Pineiro's pulled up just over 2.5 seconds now. 2.6 is the exact number. And there's Pineiro coming around the new section there. That's Dhillon, and there's Grzyb and Owen Burton. Rob Duma's about a couple of seconds back from them. There he is, in fact, on screen now. That was Rob Duma, the Polish former speedway rider. His best result we've ever seen in Brkc, he was 53rd in the championship, and that was last year. So with Rob Duma definitely looking to try and get more points to improve year on year. And another pit visitor by the looks of things. We've got someone in. It's the 11 kart, and that is Rob Duma. This is, in fact, Rob Duma. He's gone for an early stop. He's going to fall down behind a few of them, and he may well come out even behind Gary Jones. So, yeah, Gary Jones has leapfrogged him, and so is Jake Campbell-Mills. So Rob Duma is really going to be almost to last. He's dropped down to 9th. Not really sure what he's achieved by that, but we'll see what happens when these whole of the pit stop cycle through. He may well be aware of something that we're not. Okay, so crossing the line again, there is Ramon Pineiro, 14 laps into the books. He's got just over 2.5 seconds, but the gap has come down slightly. Dante Dhillon is closing in on the leader, Ramon Pineiro, albeit by a fraction, but obviously it's in fractions that it all builds up. Grzyb seems to have actually slightly pulled away from Owen Burton, but it's fractional. It's still less than a second. He just seems to have a little bit more breathing space there as we're going through onto that back section there. Owen Burton is the tail cart that we're looking at, the number 20. So already we've got Michal Grzyb. He's comfortably ahead of Owen Burton at the moment, but Burton may be sort of edging up a little bit in the older sections, the ones we used earlier on. But he's certainly looking good there behind Grzyb. And in fact, to be honest with you, this is still an improved Owen Burton from what we've ever seen before. He really is turning on this year. There's Ramon. You can tell he's Spanish. España, it says on the back of the overalls there. He's in the lead from Barcelona, he is originally, and he's definitely leading this race here, and in a convincing style. The lap time the laps do suggest, though, that he's actually losing time to Dante Dhillon. No, the time has gone up. Ramon has responded. Dhillon was actually ever so slightly closing in on that gap there. It was literally 10th by 10th and so on, but with Ramon Pineiro placing a firm 0.3 of a second onto Dhillon there, it's actually extended out a little bit, and this is actually the biggest lead we've seen now by Ramon Pineiro. There's Pineiro turning in, and here comes Dante Dhillon, and then it's Grzyb and Burton. There's a great shot of Ramon Pineiro there. Really close-up trackside camera, that one. And round to start another lap. This is into the new section now, goes Ramon Pineiro. Bit of a different winding nature to it. The track temperatures may well prove to be unaffected by this change of surface, because they are actually running literally where they were running before, just in a sort of different way round. So where the track was warm through use before, it'll probably still be warm now, because they are actually, you know, when you look at it from above, I was looking over at the far end from above before, and you could clearly see how they're using the same bits of road that they were using before, albeit maybe in a different direction. Okay, so there's the race leader. It's Ramon Pineiro, the Barcelona-originated driver. FIA Formula 2 has been his highest level in cars, and he's won races at that level. He's since reverted back to karting and purely doing it for fun. He's waving now to the marshals. He wants that driver flagged out of the way. It looks like it could be Dan Grocott. Dan Grocott, the Cov Kart Sport driver and National Kart League driver. In fact, Ramon Pineiro is getting pretty vociferous about it. He wants Grocott waved out of his way. Grocott, of course, is a lap down, so Pineiro is sort of fair to ask for that. But he's not holding back in making his demands obvious. In fact, he's made a move on Grocott. He's done the job without the flag. So Grocott forced back behind Pineiro. That was not for position. That was purely on Grocott going a lap down. Such is the pace of Pineiro, and the fact that Grocott has obviously been into the pits. So there's the race leader. It's Ramon Pineiro, Barcelona boy. Pineiro, glittering career in motor racing, karts and cars. He's being chased down by Dante Dhillon, who's now 2.6 seconds. Dante Dhillon very much sort of a regular here. He was 28th last year in the championship, which means he was a semi-finalist. He's probably even doing better this year. He's doing everything he needs, really, result-wise, to look at a place possibly in the final, should it work out that way. The thinking is generally that if you can be top 3 in every race, that would be the semi-finals and the heat races and the semi-final, then that will be how you could definitely book a place in the final. That is what the thinking is. However, the results have been a little bit topsy. There's Gary Jones making a move, and Jones makes it stick. That's Jones on Phil Pryor. Phil Pryor in the number 10 has been pushed back a place, and they were fighting now over they're over 6th place, so Gary Jones has now taken up 6th place, and Pryor looks as though he's lost a bit of time to Jones. Owen Burton moving ahead of Grocott, who's the back marker there, and Dan Grocott racing with the Supersonic team. And that's quite a tough midsection there going through. The tail of that would be Rob Duma, so it's probably Raikkonen, Jones, Pryor, Campbell-Mills and Duma all together. Yeah, because we can see there that it is Jake Campbell-Mills we're looking at now in the Tony Kart suit with the yellow helmet there. and he's under extreme pressure by Rob Duma. So it'll be Phil Pryor in front of them, and then further up ahead we've got Sebastian Raikkonen, who's just been passed by Gary Jones. So Gary Jones really moving up through the order here. He's now up into 5th place is Gary Jones. There he is in the red suit, just going out of view there. He's now coming around that long corner and down the backstretch. There's Gary Jones. He's really been moving through the order in this race. He's intent on getting clear to the top. A lot of movement in the cart there. You can see that juggling of the wheel there was just to balance the cart out. The turn-in at the end of the backstretch there is quite a strange one. It kind of kinks in, then it turns proper. It's not just down to one corner. There's a kink, and then it turns proper, a really tight hairpin. And Gary Jones just keeping the car nicely balanced there through that initial kink on his way to the hairpin proper. So, coming out there, it's definitely looks like it is. That's Rob Duma at the back there, and Rob Duma has moved ahead of Jake Campbell-Mills. So unsighted, Campbell-Mills has lost the place to Rob Duma. In front of him is, of course, Phil Pryor, and then Sebastian Raikkonen. So it's Raikkonen, Pryor, Duma, and Campbell-Mills on camera there. There's Gary Jones, and look at Gary Jones. He's really made up quite an edge there. He's pulled away from them by 2.5 seconds. It seemed only a moment ago that he was passing Raikkonen, but look at the gap he's already built. There's Jones in the red suit. And, well, we'll have a look at the lap times because he could well be a man on a mission at the moment. Let's have a look here. So, currently the fastest lap in this race has been set by Michal Grzyb, and that's a 33.1. Gary Jones is on a 33.5. He's not as quick as those in front of him, but he is faster than those behind him, with the exception of Rob Duma. And so, with Jones now, in fact, Jones is getting closer to those in front in terms of lap time. He's not quite on their times yet, but he could well yet have something to say in this particular race. He's potentially, could end up a little bit higher than where he is now, but we'll see how this shapes out. So there's Raikkonen. There is Pryor and Duma and Campbell-Mills. This four-way fight is actually over 6th place. Oh, and look at Duma. He's put a move there on Pryor that Pryor's not going to forget in a hurry. And Pryor gets bundled back to 8th place. Duma up to 7th. Duma, the Polish driver. He used to be a speedway rider over in Poland. He actually lives in England now, over in Stoke-on-Trent. But he did spend time racing speedway in Poland. So any kind of loose surface here, you'd think he'd be quite good at. Right then, so Ramon Pineiro, 27 laps in the books. We've got about 4 laps to go, 4 minutes to go, so not too long left in this race. It's been quite a quick one. Dante Dhillon is a very firm 2nd place, but he's only really 3/10 ahead of Grzyb. So Grzyb, the visiting Pole, and he comes over armed with a 4 times Polish championship on his critique. He is only 0.3 of a second behind Dante Dhillon. Owen Burton is some way back from that. He's a good 4 seconds behind them. And then there's, in fact, they're in the pits, both of them. So this is interesting. Well, Owen Burton couldn't have actually come in any closer than Grzyb if he didn't want to lose time. Of course, there's nothing gained, really. They're just getting through their pit stops, and it's how they come out. Owen Burton's got to come out way ahead of Gary Jones if he wants to be safe. He is ahead of Gary Jones, but Gary Jones can see him, and that's going to be crucial, because just the fact that he can see Owen Burton could give Gary Jones the impetus to actually close in on Burton. Now, Burton's down in 4th place, in fact, into the lead, because Pineiro's pitted, and Pineiro's come out, and we're listing Dhillon in the lead. Dhillon's yet to pit, but he's got a 6.3 second lead over Pineiro. It's probably not going to be enough if he pits and then wants to come out in the lead, but now is his chance to just smack in the lap times. If ever there was a time to do record laps, it's now, because Dante Dhillon is in the lead, but we believe he's yet to pit. It's going to be a very late pit stop if that's the case. A really tight squabble down here. This is over 6th place backwards. There's Sebastian Raikkonen, former sidecar racer, with Rob Duma and Phil Pryor and Jake Campbell-Mills behind him. Here they are, absolutely no sell. This has been the way all race long. Rob Duma is trying to make inroads on Raikkonen. Gary Jones, of course, has checked off in the distance. He is now fully in pursuit of Owen Burton, and Jones is actually slightly faster than Burton, and Jones could well do this if he has enough time. In the pits, though, there's Sebastian Raikkonen. He's going to drop to the tail of that little group. In fact, they've fallen away from them, but when they come out again, will he actually end up in the lead once we've cycled through these pit stops? So, there's Rob Duma leading the little group, followed by, there is Rob Duma with a gap now to Jake Campbell-Mills and Phil Pryor. So there's Jake Campbell-Mills in the yellow-topped helmet. And Rob Duma does seem to be pulling away slightly from Campbell-Mills. Again, one of previously touted top Brits. We've got another pit visitor by the looks of it. It must be Phil Pryor. Yes, it's Phil Pryor. And he's looking good. Oh, I really cut that one there. This could be very tight on time indeed. It could be very good. He's moving. He knows it's going to go green. Just needs to not cross the beam till it does. So Phil Pryor, he comes out of the pits. He's obviously lost some places. But, well, it was about a 11.5-second pit stop there by Phil Pryor. But it did look good when he was actually taking the stop itself. So, looking at this, though, Grzyb is now right with Dante Dhillon. So Dante Dhillon is now only 0.3 of a second behind Grzyb, and it could well even be less than that, looking at it. We're going to be very close to the end of this race. Here comes down the backstretch Ramon Pineiro, and this looks like it's going to be it. That's it. So Ramon Pineiro is going to take the win, surely. He's got a back marker in front of him. That's obviously Pryor, I think. But here comes Pineiro, wins. And what's he going to be behind? Grzyb is close right up on Dhillon. Dante Dhillon's under massive pressure from Michal Grzyb, but it is Dhillon second, and it is Michal Grzyb third. Owen Burton comes through in fourth, a comfortable distance ahead of Gary Jones. Gary Jones not quite able to bridge that gap. And here comes the flying Rob Duma. Rob Duma across the line, and Jake Campbell-Mills. The remaining ones, of course, Raikkonen, Pryor, Grocott. Here's Raikkonen, but I think Pryor actually getting a bit closer to Raikkonen than he had been before. Takes the flag, and of course Grocott is a lap down, so he has already finished. And that was a very tight race. It looks like a fairly comfortable victory on paper for Ramon Pineiro, but very close behind for Dante Dhillon and Michal Grzyb. Both amazing performances there. So there he is, the winning driver of this heat race, the first one on this revised layout for this sequence of heats, this 10 heats that everyone's competing in there. Ramon Pineiro, that's his seat insert, loaded up with weights that brings him and his seat up to the mandatory weight requirement. So winner there. Ramon Pineiro just going to the scales. Every driver needs to be weighed going in and coming out, and it's immediate disqualification for anyone who fails this weight test. I myself, as I said earlier, have fallen foul of it before. This was in the World Championship. I actually went out slightly over the weight limit, but sweated out enough in the races. It was a very hot day in Germany and a very long race that I actually came in underweight and got busted to the back immediately. No points in that one. So it can be a very, very harsh penalty for anyone who comes in slightly underweight at all. So these weights very, very important, and weight going in, weight going out. That's Sam Slater and Ed White, obviously wishing each other well there. They're going to be out in the next heat. This is Ed White we're looking at on screen now, right in front of us, just getting himself sorted out. We saw him win earlier on, quite a tough victory against Owen Burton. Ed White, of course, was the top place British driver last year. He comfortably made the final, and he was about 4th place, and he was the top British driver. Ed White there, he's obviously, if anyone's intending to win the thing overall, it would be him. He is one of those considered in contention. Ed White, in a strange sort of way, one that often gets overlooked by people. It is the likes of Lewis Manley and Johnny Elliott.